There we go. Okay. Welcome, everyone. You have tuned in to Between Two Teachers, where we talk about education issues of the day. And today is Monday, February 12th, and we're going to bring you um, good news, bad news, good practices, and our vision, our opinions, etc. So a lot of things we talk about, we do a lot of talking, and we talk about, we're very passionate about these issues and our children and good education. So that's why it's so important to us. And my name is Consuelo Lara.
And my name is Madeline Cronenberg. And before we start our discussion, as always, we're going to give our first our labor and body recognition. And I give credit to the West Contra Costa Unified School Board for sharing this out with the public, and we have adopted it as well. And here it is, the labor and body recognition. I acknowledge that the burden of environmental exploitation and systemic injustice falls upon the labor of Black and Brown bodies in the building of this country and its institutions. I remember that Black and Brown people were born and died working this land against their will for generations. I also acknowledge the continued contribution of the labor of survivors over the centuries to today of all immigrant labor, including voluntary, involuntary, trafficked, forced, and undocumented peoples in the building of what we refer to as the United States. So that is the first thing. The second thing I want to share, I clicked out of, here it is. The second thing I want to share is our land acknowledgement. And every week we share our land acknowledgement to honor the Indigenous people who populated our area. We pause to acknowledge that we have gathered on the ancestral territory of Huichin, which is part of the unceded land of the Chochenyo and Karkan-speaking Muwekma Ohlone people. We remember their continued connection to this region and give thanks to them for allowing us to live, work, learn, and pray on their traditional homeland. We offer our respect to their elders and all Ohlone people, past and present. And we encourage you, as always, to follow up with the Muwekma Ohlone people and their search for justice to be declared a federal tribe. And you can do that by Googling Justice for Muwekma. And you can also learn more about the curriculum that's available to understand the background of the Ohlone people in Contra Costa County and in the Bay Area by going to the East Bay Regional Park District website, where there is the curriculum is there for fourth grade teachers and other teachers. And it's on the Contra Costa County Office of Education website.
Yeah, there's lots of resources on land acknowledgement. And, it doesn't have to be a big thing. It can just be a sentence. There are a lot of different ways to do these land acknowledgements, but they are important. They're really very important. So you can get more understanding of it, and there's maps, and you can know where you are and what the lands were before. And so, yeah, that's available.
It's important to center ourselves. I think that is the whole thing here, right? And not to take things for granted that we have always taken for granted.
Exactly. Very good. Very good.
So today we're going to start with something that's more local to us, right? We're going to start with, and I'm going to let Consuelo begin.
Yes, in the East Bay Times, there was an article after the last board meeting where there were a lot of budget cuts, and people were let go, and going to, a lot of people, especially the SCOWs. And the SCOWs are the school community outreach workers. And these are the people that connect with parents, connect with the community, and do the outreach when a student needs extra help, or you need to contact the parent. They are that link, and they usually come from the community. So, I mean, they're just vital. I remember how important they were when I was teaching at Helms. You know, there was always somebody I could go to and ask them, you know, for help and for outreach on to some of the parents. And those are the people that they're cutting. So it's because of the teacher shortage and needing to save money or cut the budget. We're really in a crisis kind of situation. And out of this, so one solution I guess somebody has come up with is to sue the district for lack of teachers. I mean, and these are the same people who sued for lack of textbooks, which makes sense. Every child should have a textbook. You don't, go and get them. But to sue about not having teachers is counterproductive because it just creates now we have to get a lawyer and we just drains money and the lawyers get rich because we have to fight this, or you know, we have to manage
It doesn't provide a solution.
And it's not a solution. I don't know why these people think that.
Because at the end, what a court is able to do is order you to go and do it, as if you're not trying to do it now. The presumption is, in this kind of a legal action, is that you're not trying to do it. With the books, well, you weren't making sure that everybody had a book. That was the Williams complaint. Okay, well, you can do better. You can make sure everybody has a book. You can double check that if you weren't doing that. With the teachers, you're trying to do outreach and hire people. Well, you have to have the ability that, first of all, that group of people has to be there to be hired.
Yeah, they have to exist. Yes. No, the Williams, I remember teaching and then somebody knock on the door and they'd come in with their clipboard and they'd say, do you have a book? Where's your book? Oh, it's in my locker, or I have it at home. Yeah, I got a book. They follow through on that. That's great. That's wonderful. But teachers, where are we supposed to get them if there are none? So
right. And the assumption that because children in a certain class, and it is a tragedy that we certainly have talked about here for a very long time, that there are classrooms that are just filled with substitutes, or that they cannot find a permanent teacher for. And so there are solutions for that can't be driven by a judge someplace who's going to order you to do it, as if you have the ability, an ability that you're not trying to do, right? So that you have to have more funding and then different strategies to use that funding. But the first thing is funding.
Yeah. And this action really makes things worse, because then you got to take money from out of there in order to deal with this attention, administrators, I mean, time, energy, it has to go into this lawsuit. So it really is counterproductive, and it's just the opposite of helping. It is making things worse. And we are about making things better and real solutions that have worked, because we know they can, and we just need to move forward on the positive things that we know work. So in the classroom, so in schools. So that's what we want to focus on today.
That's what we're going to talk about, the ways to bring teachers to want to come to West Contra Costa to teach at the schools that they're talking about. And also ways to grow new teachers to people who would want to be teaching in these classrooms for a career. That's really what the goal should be, instead of let's punish the people who are here for not being able to have these teachers appear, right? That it makes no sense. It really doesn't make sense, because there is no set of efforts that's not being made, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, we pay less in this district than our surrounding districts. That's true. But I believe, you know, teachers don't leave, well, they may leave because of the salaries, but mostly they leave, they'll tell you, the lack of support.
That's it.
That's it. What does that mean? Lack of support. So let's address that issue. And what are the ways we can provide unreasonable support, unreasonable hospitality to,
Exactly, right? Our board president has set there's a book that's written called Unreasonable Hospitality. And what we're saying is raise the level of attention to your customers, right? And your customers in the case of the district certainly are the children who are your students, but they can also be your staff in terms of the management of the district. Your customers are your staff, and you need to make your staff want to be there.
exactly, exactly. And the support looks like many, many things. I remember when I started teaching, everybody had an aide. I was teaching, this is 1970, the 70s, and we all had aides, everybody, just all day. So those are the kind of things, that's the kind of support that's needed in the classroom. There needs to be
Right,
more.
the second adult, right? That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
And that second adult can be a classroom mom, or it can be an aide, or it can be another teacher, a team teacher. I mean, it can be an administrator who comes in to support you. It can look a lot of different ways, but it makes a huge difference to have a second adult in with the children that you're teaching.
Yeah. And I was just remembering when I was at Helms and we had the QEIA funding. One of the things we had a site substitute also. So if you, I can't believe this. If you wanted to go and look and observe another teacher, that sub could come in and take your class,
right.
And I could go and look and say, oh, that's how you do that. I mean, there was always this interaction among my peers and my department to be a better teacher. So that was great support as well. There's just so many ways you can support teachers. And they'll want to stay, So that's one that I remember was really great. And the after school, the professional development, the hours to get together and collaborate, whether we talk about how to help a student or we talk about strategies, instructional strategies, etc. So that's a lot of support for teachers, especially new teachers, to want to stay and come and stay. Another thing that came up was about the National Board Certification. So this is a program. It's very comprehensive. It's to be National Board Certified teacher. You get observed, and you have to videotape yourself, and
you have to do reflections, self-reflections, right?
It is a lot of work, but it really is rewarding, and it's something you become. It's like something tagged onto your credential. You are National Board Certified, means you're one of the best, teachers. You're a very good teacher. And it's been around for a long time. It's been around for a very long time. So if teachers are part of that, one of the things they do is they know how to deal with the challenges of whatever your community is and those students. And not only that, but they can help other teachers as well. So National Board Certification. And what are some other things we had? Community involvement. Our community schools are good examples of the kind of resources. Now, they're at the beginning of this program here, and so they want to really fully implement these strategies for a community school. And I remember at Helms also was a community school. There was a lot of outreach to teachers, to parents and their families. So, and we'd like to see that even more expanded, where they partner with the cities and with our community-based organizations and bring resources in for the families may of these students. So it's like wraparound service for students, helps a teacher be a better teacher when they can then concentrate on, they know that the students' well-being, social emotional well-being is a focus of a school.
Right. And it's addressed so that the student is available to learn, right? those other issues are being addressed, and they know that you care about them enough so that they are interested in what you have to say as a teacher.
Exactly. Yeah, I think of it as like if one teacher telling another teacher to come to this West Contra Costa because you get all kinds of support. And it's they teach responsive, culturally responsive instruction. They have restorative justice and reward systems that are school wide, so that everybody wants, excuse me, a positive school climate and school culture. That's a really important thing. And so classroom management, there's ongoing professional development about that. So I'm going to get some water. What
Well,
else?
it makes an it's an entire shift to say we are going to identify the problem. We agree. We've been talking about this problem on and on and on. The problem is that there's a teacher shortage. The problem is there are too many substitutes, and that the substitutes get no support as well, right? Substitutes do have a role. Substitutes, if every school had a building substitute, you'd have all kinds of opportunities, and that substitute would know the children, would be able to follow and know where a teacher was at. So teachers could leave for professional development, or could be off for a day and need to take a day off, and have a person in the classroom who knows the children, right?
Yeah.
That's a standard thing that's done in many school districts, right? In districts that are better resourced by their state than we are. That's right. The fact. It's understood in other states that they have a building. Of course they have a building substitute. Like when you talk to them about substitute problems, they don't know what you're talking about, because it's just part of what they have.
Yeah. So there's extra adults at the school, in the classroom, there for the students, for the children, and for the teachers to be better teachers. And I think that's just a wonderful thing to have those extra individuals who can help with all of that. And so I remember a time when you could ask a resource teacher, come in and watch my math lesson and then give me some feedback. And so I never felt, like I didn't want to be watched or anything. We really need to break that isolation, that teacher isolation. I remember learning about that, because you close the door and it's just you and those kids, and you feel like that you have to do everything. And it really shouldn't be that. And we also are looking at the larger pictures, the housing, the teacher housing. That's a big issue as well. And for recruitment, to be able to say, oh, we got some housing for new teachers and first year teachers as well. So that would be a great thing to offer. Teacher apprenticeship programs where the community can get on the pathway to become a teacher, and you can work in the classroom and get paid as well. And one thing we need to explore is the role the community college can also play in that, especially around the aides for certifying some classroom aides. There's a big shortage of special ed aides, particularly.
It's another partnership, right?
That's another partnership. Then there's always the county and what the county can do. So let me talk about the county. The county has 3 big jobs. One is professional development. When I taught in Pittsburgh and Martinez, I remember I couldn't wait till the catalog came out and I could see what are they offering. And it was either free or really cheap. I don't remember how much it cost, but they were local and easily accessible, and they were always relevant to what I was teaching. I was teaching elementary school at the time. So they were always great. They had the best resources and teachers. And so the county can step up and do more of that in the areas that we need, such as classroom management. There should be a lot of ongoing classroom management for teachers. Professional development is one. Technical support. Now, you can get technical support from the county if you are, because usually the state will go through the county tells the districts about grants, new programs that are being, implemented. And if you want this program or this grant, you can come to the county and they'll actually give you technical support, walk you through process, etc. So that's another area. Certainly West Contra Costa could use some technical support, instructional strategies, all kinds of things. And instead of spending a lot of money on our these outside contracts, it's a lot of money, we could look at that as well. And the third thing is networking. They have many curriculum councils, like the heads of the math departments, let's say the districts, all 18 districts, they all come together once a month and talk about their programs. So that is powerful networking. And so I really feel like and it's kind of done, it's like a little secret. Nobody knows all of this work that's being done there. And I know that the thought is that the bigger districts, they don't need the county. It's just the small districts that need the county to help them. But I think it should be those districts that are in most need, with the most vulnerable students, with the most challenges, should get resources beyond. So that's kind of the role. There's a strong role that the county could play. They could play a lot stronger role in helping our districts and our students and our schools. So
I think that that's an interesting point. And the people at Public Advocates did not even consider including the county as a possible part of the solution, right? When I read the remedies sought, the first thing was, we seek the following remedies: that the district and school, 1, fill the vacant positions within a reasonable period of time. If they could fill, that is stunning to me that that's what they say, with the presumption that you can just do that. How are you going to do that? Who are you going to send there? Do you want to send all of your administrators, or maybe should Dr. Hurst just go down and teach, kindergarten at Stige? And maybe he should, maybe that's what you want. But it presumes a level of not trying to do that. That's the issue, right? Prioritize filling the vacancies without exacerbating the issue elsewhere by pulling educators from other schools. Really? Well, how?
It's ridiculous. Maybe Public Advocates, their staff need to come and teach there. Maybe they need.
It's just stunning to me. I do not understand how they feel that is supposed to be able to be done, and that there is no effort being made. But that is literally what it says, right? If there are other things it says the building should be better. If they're going to rebuild Stige, they're not saying anything about the Helms, and we rebuilt Helms. We're working on Richmond High. So those facilities don't have the issues that Stige has, and Stige is going to have $30 million put into it to be rebuilt. But these solutions, here it is, their last one: cease the illegal practice of using long-term subs to fill vacancies, and instead implement a district-wide practice to recruit, hire, and assign. Well, don't you think we have a district-wide practice to recruit, hire, and assign permanent, legally authorized teachers in a timely manner, and refine the teacher development and support programs, is what we're talking about, to advance such processes, including supporting classified staff interested in a pathway to become a certificated teacher? We have, yes.
Well, was this a threat or a actual?
No, it's a lawsuit. No, it's Public Advocates filing a complaint.
They filed it.
Yes, and there were parents who identified the problem, and there's no question the parents are totally right. Yes, but
is it not ready?
Just ordering this in your remedies sought section, how can that make it happen? Anyway,
yeah,
it can't. It's what we need to do is really and truly invest in and develop the programs that can in fact, recruit and retain teachers for these children.
And I have to commend East Bay Times for putting this out there. Really, it's good to report more often on our district and the issues that come up. I have to commend them for that.
There's no question about that. And honestly, I don't blame public advocates for doing it. I think that is useful. But at this point, they have to be realistic in how they can support us. What they need to do is bring in the county and the state who can provide the resources necessary that are not available right now. Because you cannot be talking about firing scows and making a budget balance and at the same time wonder why you're not able to recruit and retain.
Yeah. Look at the cause. We're the symptom, but where are the causes? And so that's where they need to focus. Public advocates does some good work. They really do.
Yeah. So this is not about bashing public advocates, but it is about saying, let's be more realistic and holistic in how we find solutions, these are the solutions we've been talking about over and over. We need to build a pipeline. We need to have teachers want to come and stay in districts that right now are under-resourced and whose families are under-resourced.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So we put this out into the universe.
Yes.
Yes, and we'll just keep on doing that.
That's right. So that's it today. We're not going to muddy it with anything else. I think that the shout out is to everybody who's going to step up and help us. First of all, shine the light on the problem, but even more importantly, then find realistic solutions to the problems of staffing our schools so that our children all have the appropriate teachers in their classrooms who want to stay there.
Yes. They always say, you don't want to cut what's closest to the student. Well, what's closest to the student is the teacher. So let's support our teachers so they want to teach and stay.
Give them the second adult. I think that should be our motto. Let's have a second adult in every classroom.
That's a good one.
Let's not leave our teachers by themselves, alone and unsupported.
Yeah.
So until next time, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again on Between Two Teachers.
Bye-bye.